Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, will Kyle Lowry's addition to the Clippers make them title favorites? So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, our Dreamerspro premium community is finished. We're launching it tomorrow. I know some people have been asking us, where is it at? Where is it at? We haven't launched it yet. We just put it in the description below. That is in the community section, so you can just see what it's about. I know my hair is a little bit messed up today, but I'm getting a haircut this weekend, so bear with me. It's Friday. I don't have a barber. I cut my own hair. We're in a lockdown, so I cut my hair myself, everything. So just bear with me. Anyway, so let me just get into the topic here. So not too long ago, I did a video. We did a video suggesting this whole Kyle Lowry Clipper type of scenario, and understandably, some Raptors fans came for me. Right? They tore me up. They tore me up. They weren't trying to hear it, and I completely understand. Now, the Clipper fans, on the other hand, have been saying all year long that they would like to have a serviceable, solid point guard, because although they do have Patrick Beverley, who is a good point guard, the issue with him is half of the time he's always injured, right? Like this season, I think already he missed about 9 or 10 games already this season. So the thing with him is, when he's there, he's useful, but other times he's just not available. And if he can't show up to work, then I don't see how you're going to be able to help the team. And secondly, he's not at the caliber of a Kyle Lowry. I mean, he plays great defense. He's a great energy guy, provides a lot of leadership. But this is the main issue, issue with him. But earlier, before when we produced that video, the news was just circulating around that, yeah, this could possibly, be this could be a potential thing. Now I'm hearing that, word is the Raptors are trying to move Kyle Lowry and reward him by sending him to a title contender. One of the teams I heard was the Philadelphia 76ers. Another team that I heard is the LA Clippers. Now, first of all, Kyle Lowry is an all-time great Toronto Raptor. He's probably the greatest Raptor of all time. I know DeMar DeRozan is the #1 leading scorer for that organization, that I do remember, but he never won the title. Kyle Lowry did, and he's been there for this entire time. He played in other places before, but I think he's been with the Toronto Raptors for at least 5, 6, 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, and he stayed through the ups and downs. And Kyle Lowry's had a pretty tough career. There were times where he was unreliable, in the playoffs. There were times where he would come up short every single year. During the regular season, he would play well, then he would get to the playoffs, and he just wouldn't show up. But 2 years ago, he was able to exercise his demons when him and the team broke through and finally made it to an NBA championship and ultimately won. And he was big. And through that entire run, you can see that he was desperate for a champ. He was desperate for a ring. I think he was playing at one point with the cast on his hand, but I think Kyle Lowry at that point was going to do whatever it took to make sure that the Toronto Raptors captured their first title ever. So they're thinking of sending him to a title contender. And listen, I think it's normal. Before some people say, oh, why would they do that? This and this. It's happened before. Okay, you don't need to go any further than think of the time when Kevin Garnett, who was a regular season MVP, one of the best power forwards of all time, great basketball player, but he just couldn't win with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that was the team that drafted him. He played for so many years for that organization, and for him, he just didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave the organization, and so many people around the league were telling him, like, KG, you've been with this organization, you've given them everything that you got, but you guys just cannot make it to the promised land. Go to a team where you can finally give yourself a legitimate shot at winning an NBA title. And the Minnesota Timberwolves allowed him to go play with I don't know if it was through a trade. Yeah, I think it was probably through a trade, if I'm not mistaken. Or I think he signed with them. I think it was through a trade. I don't remember. And he ended up going playing with the Boston Celtics. And then they got Ray Allen, and then you got Paul Pierce, and then he won his first title, right? And I'm sure the people in Minnesota were very happy for him. And I think at the tail end of his career, he went back to the team. I think he played for like a season or two, but he was really there just to mentor the guys. But I think everybody was happy for KG that he was able to get his title. And I think it's a similar situation going on with Kyle Lowry. He's done everything he could do. I looked at the NBA standings. I think the Toronto Raptors are currently a 500 team. If you look at them in the Eastern Conference, they're a 500 team. They're below 500 team. They lost 2 in a row. They're 16 and 17. Are they gonna make it to, deep in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference? No, because the teams ahead of them that are better. Look at the Philadelphia 76ers. Look at the Brooklyn Nets. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think we'd put any of those teams, I don't think we would put the Toronto Raptors ahead of any of those teams and say, okay, they can go out there and beat those teams. So I think they see the writing on the wall. And, Kyle Lowry probably sees that too. And Masai Ujiri and these guys are like, listen, we're probably going to go into a rebuild. We found out Pascal Siakam is not that dude. And, there's no reason for you to be here and be a part of this rebuild. Why don't you go off and go try to get yourself another championship? You've done everything that you could for this organization. Now, let's talk about him possibly going to the Clippers. I think if they're able to acquire him, I think it would definitely make them favorites in the West. I already think that the Clippers and the Lakers are the two best teams in the Western Conference. If they were to play the Lakers, I'll give the Clippers a slighter edge because I don't think the Lakers are as good as they were last season, to be quite honest with you. I think they were a better team last season than they are this season. I could be wrong, but I just don't think that they are. So if he were to join this team, I think he would make them the favorites in the West. For sure. I think he would make them, the favorites in the West. Now, the issue with all of this is that Kyle Lowry is very expensive. I think he's earning about $30 million a year. So I'm not sure how they're going to make the math work. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not going to spend 1 second trying to make it work because it's not my suggestion. I'm just reporting the news to you guys. So I don't have to figure it out because I'm not a GM. So I guess the people that are kind of making this thing work in the background, they're the ones that are going to figure that out. I'm just reporting it to you. But listen, I think he can definitely help the Clippers if they're able to get him. Number one, he's an all-time competitor. Whatever it is about Kyle Lowry, say whatever you want, he's a competitor. He competes. Half of the time you see him diving for loose balls. He put his body in a way to win. I mean, he's a competitor, which is something I like about him. Number two, he has championship experience. Now you have three guys on that Clippers team that have won the title. And funny enough, those three guys won their last championships together. And I said it would be the Toronto Raptors of the West, pretty much. You got the Kyle Lowry. You would have Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, and Serge Ibaka. These are three of the main pieces that won that title for that team 2 years ago when they finally broke through. So you would have that you have championship experience, which helps the team. He can score. He's a great scorer. I think Kyle Lowry for the season is averaging, look, he's averaging 18 points per game, getting you 5.5 rebounds and 6.5 assists. And he's a very good three-point shooter. He's shooting 39.5, let's just say 40% from the three and 46% from the field and 85% or 86% from the free throw line. And he's getting you 1.2 steals a game, right? So, he's a very balanced player and you're not going to lose anything. You're not going to lose anything from the point guard position. You're going to get Actually, you're going to upgrade that point guard spot, in my opinion. He plays great defense, as I said before. And number one, it puts Patrick Beverley to the bench, so you no longer have to worry about Patrick Beverley being available or not. Because if he's not, then you can bring Lou Williams or Reggie Jackson or someone off the bench. But for sure, if you got Kyle Lowry on that team, he would be the de facto point guard and he would be the best point guard on that team. And I don't even think there's a question about that. Another thing I like about him is that he's a vocal leader. He's a vocal voice. He's a vocal leader. Kyle Lowry's a leader, man. He's always talking. He's always galvanizing guys. He's always communicating with the coaches and the players. He's a vocal type of leader, which is something that I like. Kawhi Leonard is kind of coming out of his shell finally and becoming more vocal with his guys. But Kyle Lowry, if he were to join this team, he would definitely assist Kawhi, right? He would take a lot of that. He would help Kawhi with that role, and he could be the second team captain. Some guys may be wondering, how can you have two team captains? Well, it's very simple. Just go back to the Kobe Bryant Lakers. When Kobe was playing with the Lakers, there were two team captains. It wasn't Kobe and Powell. It was Kobe and Derek Fisher. Those were the two team captains, and they had two different ways of leading. Kobe was a disciplinarian. He would get in your face. He would cuss guys out and all of that different stuff, all of these different things. And Derek Fisher had a different type of leadership in the way he would communicate with guys. So you would see that type of synergy there. Two different styles of leadership, but you have two team captains. Another thing about Kyle Lowry is that he's very smart. He's a very smart basketball player, and I think he'll be able to pick up the offense really quickly and fit in perfectly. And given the fact he's a better point guard than any of the point guards that the Clippers have, I think he would even help the offense even more. Guys will get even better shots. The Clippers are shooting about 42% from the three-point line this season. Imagine if you had Kyle Lowry running that offense. Just think about how smooth and efficient it would be. I think you'll be able to get easier shots for guys like Nicholas Batum, Serge Ibaka. You know, he would be able to get Serge Ibaka easier looks at the basket. Serge, he's usually taking shots, a lot of contested shots, and the really only open shots you really see him take is those 3-pointers that he tries to hit in transition. But I think him and Kyle Lowry would work really well in that pick and roll, especially with the pick and pop. He'll be able to get Serge some good looks. So I think he would definitely help that team in a myriad of ways. And I think he would make that team the favorites in the Western Conference. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. I'm just reporting it. As I said, I'm not going to go over the financial, mental gymnastics of all of that because I don't have the strength for that, guys. It's Friday, and I'm just, I'm not trying to do all of that. But I definitely think if they're able to get him, he would make the Clippers the favorites. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree? Do you think that if they got Kyle Lowry, he would make them the favorites? And secondly, do you think it's something that can even happen? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoy the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up. And once again, thank you guys for your attention. This is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.